Where I come from, born and raised, it is a habit. A big bagger, I could read, you know, I got to have it. Cause if I don't have it in my pockets, I go to panic. Cause like I say, where I come from, I smoke it.
It's not just you. It really does feel like Ed Sheeran's been slowly losing his spark. It's not just his music, it's his storytelling. It's gotten safer. I'll explain exactly how in a second. Now, love him or hate him, Ed's ruled pop music for over a decade now. And let's be real, he's not stopping anytime soon. But here's the thing. Somewhere along the line, I think Ed's lost sight of what made him stand out. I say this as a songwriter and a lyricist, and a massive fanboy who's been hooked on his music ever since his first EP. So before we jump in, yes, this is all opinionated and purely constructive. Feel free to agree or throw hands in the comments. But here are two key elements that I've noticed that have seriously shifted in Ed's music. Let's ponder on that.
Back then his vocals actually moved with emotion. Now it's cleaner, more auto-tuned, and it sounds like he's trying to sing pretty rather than feeling ugly. People might not clock it right away, but once you hear it in tracks like Sapphire, it clicks.
You're glowing, you color and fracture the light. You can't help but shine. And I know that you carry the world on your back, but look at you tonight.
Compare that to something like I See Fire, you can feel the gravel in his voice.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke,
It feels natural. Autotune exists, but only as a supporting factor, not to overtake the entire thing. His instrumentals suffer too. Older tracks like Runaway had layers you could literally dissect. Every layer could be picked apart, yet blended together beautifully. Like a lasagna, each layer's flavor distinct on its own, but still working together in harmony. Take Shivers for example, the production just blurs into the background. Over-polished, over-layered, and just underwhelming. But the biggest shift of all aren't his instruments or his vocals, it's his storytelling. Ed's older songs felt like diary entries with a melody. Every track was a chapter in his life, vivid, raw, and specific.
someone told me, always say what's on your mind, and I am only being honest with you.
Now the lyrics feel clean, vague, and often too cliche. He didn't just write love songs, he wrote about stillbirth, addiction, the life of a sex worker, and the loss of a family. He turned his grandparents' wartime love story into Nancy Mulligan, wrapped a fuck you letter to the industry, and even wrote from the perspective of a child watching a city fall. This was the Ed Sheeran I grew up loving, and now it just feels like he's retreated into safe, sanitized storytelling. And sure, I get it, it's hard to constantly stay inspired. I also get that his newer projects were experiments, Equals was polished for radio, Autumn Variations was just a bunch of sides Ed compiled, and Subtract was therapy.
So is personal just an excuse now? Maybe. Is personal being used as a shield for criticism? I don't think so. Take what Ed said about Subtract, for example. So basically Ed's saying this album was for me, not for you. If you don't like it, that's fine. It wasn't meant for you. It was my therapy. Sure, fair, but then here's my question. If it's truly therapy, then why monetize it? Why release it on streaming platforms with marketing, PR tours, and vinyl bundles? And to be frank, I always believed all your songs were therapy, Ed. That's why you stood out, and here's the uncomfortable truth. Personal doesn't mean good. Just because it's raw and emotional doesn't automatically make it well written or memorable. Ed Sheeran's been one of my biggest songwriting inspirations, and I genuinely hope these experiments lead him to a proper sound. I still love my ginger boy. I hope Bond delivers. Anyways, ponder on that.